Listen, I have an idea.
It's how I feel when you make lemonade. Whatever today has given you. 5'11" headaches, still call it Thanksgiving. True.
Welcome to another edition of the Supa Dupa Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Griggs, here with the super producer, S. McMahon.
Yes. What's going on, Rob? How you doing, man?
I'm happy that the brother receiving a DXL gift certificate. Thank
Yes,
you for checking
sir.
out the Supa Dupa
Yes.
Podcast.
It's a good day.
Inside joke. Thank you for checking out the Supa Dupa Podcast. We do not take your listens lightly. Make sure you follow us on all socials, SUPADUPAPOD. What up, Sarah? And speaking of Sarah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
How are you? I hope you had a wonderful birthday. You know, Sarah, she probably was protecting some whales or something, or protesting somewhere, doing something. But I hope you got celebrated somewhere, Sarah, as you hear this. But Sarah, we appreciate you so much. Hope you had a wonderful birthday. Also, check us out online at hp53productions.com for our herch and additional content such as our own S. McMahon with the Easy Smoke and GM podcast. So was it was Bears Therapy last week, yeah?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I
So
think
good?
we were cool. Yeah. We were cool. Even
I
though
will
we
say,
lost,
it was a bad
we
loss.
lost to the Packers, but
Yeah.
it was, if there is a such thing, and then there's no such thing as a moral victory, but if there's such thing as a good loss, that was a good loss.
Yeah, because usually we get beat by the Packers. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like we just
yeah.
lost. I would agree. I feel like
This one, it was a good game, and you know what, that final play, Caleb just missed him. You know, he was a second late on the read, and that's okay. That's something to learn from.
wait,
So
wait a minute. Is that is the next Bears Packers game? Is that a night game?
it's a Saturday night game. It's next Saturday.
It's a Saturday night game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I got the kids, but guess what we doing on Saturday night? They don't know. They don't know it yet. They're about to be watching some football. They're like, yeah, it's Saturday. Don't care. Sorry, guys. But that's good that you guys were good, because again, I don't think people in the city we don't feel bad, but you just want to get that NFC North. We'll need to win.
So we got it one more time. It's all right.
Yeah.
We're good. We're all right.
Listen, man. I can tell.
Right now, we got some tough games coming up, but that just builds character. So we gotta, number one, don't look past Cleveland. Cleveland is they're a 3-win team, but that's a tough team there.
Tough defense.
So yeah, very, very good defense, and that rookie quarterback,
Getting it done.
he looked all right last week. So yeah, we're all right. We're all right.
Good. Hey, man. I love it. Listen, we've been doing this pod for about 5 years. This is probably the first season where you've been consistent. It's I knew the trends. Couple wins on the front end. You're like, yeah, let's go. Then it kind of goes down, and then you just, you're like numb. we tend to the end. You're like, Rob, what is football, Rob? I mean, what are we really talking about here? You're like Hampton. That's where you lean to the Hampton stuff real big when you're sad about the.
Well, we couldn't lean on Hampton this year, man. Oh, they were bad. They were bad.
I know.
I'm a Hampton Pirate. We were bad this year.
I know. I mean, we still, as Sarah told us, people still want to know the football story, so we got to get the likes up. So
Nobody want to know. Nobody cares.
Hey, listen, Sarah don't lie, but it's her birthday. Why would she lie on her birthday?
Nobody cares about that.
About the stats.
But if we want to,
1,000 likes. 1,000 likes. 1,000 likes.
Someday we'll discuss it.
No doubt. Well, make sure you check out the Easy Smoking GM podcast wherever you're getting the Supa Dupa Pod, especially on Spotify, bruv, in it. Bob's your uncle. Shout out to everybody in London that's listening to us. Bob's your uncle. So as we got Dr. Williams on the pod today, talk about his new podcast coming up 2026, and also do a year-end wrap up, just about all the things. Of course, talked about AI, we talked about Trump, talked about a few things. So definitely a good pod. Before we get to him, there's a few things, man. So as we didn't talk, I just let you know I found out I had the flu this week, man. So, and that's crazy because I haven't had the flu. I don't know how long, man. And it's so shout out to my baby girl. So she got ready for school. Mom took her to center school, and they called, and it was like, yeah, y'all got to come get her because she got a fever. So I was like, well, I guess it's the end of my day. So I had to call the gig, move things around, go get Brooklyn. Now, again, you guys know about Brooklyn. She's living in Beverly. She has autism, has some aggressive behavior, but she's the sweetest girl in the world. And so, uh, pick her up. She looks at me, Dad, doctor. I went, whoa, I guess we driving to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? And she lay on the bed. They lay on the thing, the check. She just laid down. Brooklyn ain't never been this cooperative in the doctor's appointment ever. So I was like, hey, whatever medicine y'all got, give us 2 of them because she out here talking for this stuff, man. The knife stuff, nice. She was vomiting, just up all night. I'm cleaning stuff up. And then, Sunday, I'm like, I'm cool, just tired. Monday, I just felt like I don't feel like myself. You know what I mean? Chest was, had my mask on because when her best friend in the world was coming to do her hair, and I just was feeling weird. And so then, I'm in the bed shaking, thinking like, well, God, this is it. Take care of my parents because I don't know what's happened to my body. Got enough energy to get Brooke into school. The boys were feeling weird, and then we all went to the doctor. And I still had a mask on again. It was like I should just wear a mask. And getting in there, man, and they test everybody. The nurse tests everybody, no mask. They come back with a mask on. I went, oh boy, that means somebody got something. Who is it? And so they go, Chase, you're fine. Aiden, you're just allergies. I'm like, well, I'm the only one left. So what is it? They're like, you tested positive for, you know what I mean? And it was like the flu. I went, the flu? Because you ain't heard that in a long, you know what I'm saying? It's been COVID, it's been RSV, you know what I mean? All this other stuff. They went, you got the flu. Now she said, you have influenza. I was like, you giving me the government name. Okay, I got influenza. Cool. And it's like, that actually makes sense. Dude, I had 102.6 fever.
Ooh, baby.
And so I was like, shouldn't I be passed out? She was like, yeah, you should be laid out somewhere. I was like, I've worked all day today. I've driven kids places. You know what I'm saying? I've been all over this. I have a 102 point what? I got V103? You know what I'm saying? That's my I got a radio station temperature. This is insane.
Did you have any aches, chill, anything?
Oh, chills were crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because we talked about this last thing a couple pods ago. I managed the heat in my house. Shout out to them, thankful. My house is very well insulated, so I have to be very careful with the heat because it can get really hot in here. But I got to, and I'm pretty good. I turn the heat down a certain time, keep kids are cool when they're at night, sleep well. But I'm so cold, and I just forgot I'm out of my mind. I left the heat on a little higher than normal. So I woke up in the middle of the night, check on the boys. They got the window open in the middle of winter, open, just big window.
Wait, wasting all your heat.
Bro, I was like, yo, hey! They was like, Dad, it is hot. I was like, my bad, shorty. I mean, dog, excuse me, blankets on the ground, windows open, just Dad, it is hot. And I was like, God, what is going on? Oh, what's the heat on? My bad, fellas, because I'm shivering. You know what I'm saying? But we made it through. It's been a good week, man. But thank God. Shout out to my folks checking on me, man. So I really appreciate it. But yeah, man, it's been the flu is nuts. I will say, and I was telling you before, like the only good thing about the flu, like most people know me. I try to eat pretty clean for the most part. I got a funny tongue. I just can't eat everything. No. Crazy. And so, it was like I have to, certain fried foods I can't eat. So, certain sugars I really can't eat. But with this flu, like I can't even taste certain things. So all I've been eating is Cocoa Pebbles and Popeyes, right? And shout out to Sanders on 99th here in Beverly in Chicago, man. It's like that's all I can eat.
Sanders barbecue?
Nah, I do catfish, man. I'm not really barbecue.
But that's what they sell, right? Is that the same place?
I mean, they are saying it's barbecue. I don't get barbecue when I go there.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say no. They're opening up one in Hyde Park.
Yeah, it's man. I got from there. We did. I catered Mother's Day one year.
Okay.
It was fantastic, man. It was really good. And I mean, not as expensive as I thought it was gonna be. I mean, don't get twisted. It was a grip, but it wasn't like it wasn't crazy. You know what I mean? I thought it was gonna be like way more than I paid. I was like, okay. I mean, it's still up there, but I'll pay it because it's and it was good to go. And but it's good food, man. I say check it out. But yeah. So shout out to the doctors at the urgent care, and shout out to Tamiflu and Tylenol. That's been saving me, man. But the other good thing is you gotta be careful what you pray for. I'm praying for like a break and some rest. And I was like, well, I mean, if you ask. And here I am laid out watching all kind of movies. Dude, I've watched The Roses. Have you seen this on Disney Plus? Have you heard of this movie, The Roses?
No.
Check that out. I think you might like it. It's a dark humor movie about a married couple. I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
Pretty hilarious. Watch Nobody too. I just was like going through each platform and click on the first movie I saw. Have you seen Nobody at all? The Nobody movie?
There's nobody. No.
It's about a guy who was like a trained killer. His whole thing is he's a nobody. You don't know who he
You
is,
know
but
who
he
he
comes in and
is.
tear your town up. I
Where's
watched
that at?
that was on Peacock.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I watched No Hard Feelings again, and
Good
because
movie.
we talked about it, because like I told you, I was told we was hating. Well, I was told that we made Jennifer Lawrence out to be too fine. I don't let that person know you was hating because she fine in the mug. And that movie is pretty. I forgot how funny that movie was. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's a
Yeah.
pretty. It's a silly movie from top to bottom, man. But something I watched that I just didn't realize I would enjoy. I don't know if you check it out. Is the Vince Staples show? Have you watched this?
I have not seen that. You watching all this stuff I haven't seen yet. I haven't even heard of.
Hey, man, me neither. I feel like Vince Staples is a guy that if we were in our 20s, we would know all of who he was. You know, we would know everything he doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just feel like I'm probably aged out of the Vince Staples demo. Like you got to be kind of, but I mean, I've seen him in movies and when I know he started out, he's a rapper, man. That's his first gig, but he's done some acting, what have you. And I think he had a special deal like with his deals and his shows. But this show was like, it's kind of like, how Atlanta, you've seen Atlanta, right?
I've seen Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah. Good
You know
show.
how Atlanta was like, it was funny in a weird way. It's not like a slapstick. Just here's the joke, here's the punchline. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the whole situation was like, yo, what is happening? That's the Vince Staples show, man. It was just a quick it was a mini series, 5 episodes, 23, 24 minutes each, man. Just hilarious, just silly stuff, man.
Okay.
Happening.
I've seen him before. I haven't. I know.
Yeah,
I've seen.
you know who
Yeah. I
he
know who
is.
he
You know
is.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I say if I could recommend anyone, watch that one because that's a quick. It's kind of like Southside, right? Just how like hilarious, it was funny. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just something to just like watch and really enjoy, man. So I like stuff like that. So I know we started. I don't think we've done a lot of that this year outside of that one movie draft we did. I want to do more of that in 26. Just how we focus on just like black TV, movies and whatnot. Because there's so many pods that talk about, they call it prestige TV pods and all these movie pods. And it'd be stuff that, we watch, but not stuff that's about the people we know or cultures that we understand, man. So I'm gonna promote that a lot more in 2026. So check out the Vince Staples show. So we want to get into Dr. Williams' episode. I'm gonna get it fast because this medicine is starting to wear off. And we had a great time talking about 2025, his thoughts on all things AI. And if you listen to the pod before, you know how Dr. Williams feels about AI. And we realized we have a Kendrick Drake beef. You'll definitely hear that and enjoy that in the pod. So here it is, the one and only Dr. Williams, Around the World with World. Today on the Supa Dupa Pod, we got the one and only Dr. Williams here. What's up, big bro?
Hey man, I'm doing great. I wish you were feeling better, man. I know I'm worried about you doing it. I should have probably come there and did it live from your home studio.
Flu game.
Don't worry. You got mask. We're good.
Jordan flu game, baby.
Flu game. You going flu game? All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna be Scottie Pippen. I'm gonna carry you to the sideline.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. I'm gonna get you there. We know where the ball's going.
Sidebar. It's crazy that they hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy, but you know what? When you play at that level and you bring that level of passion, look, I play basketball and I was tough all the time. There is something about the passion of the game that is hard to translate to people when you've had success. There's still a cost in it, right? So Pippen feels like, hey, you couldn't have gotten there without me. And now, you're seen as a singular player. And, there's always a kind of slight, there's a slight that, hey, I was a really great player, but we're still talking about you, and everyone knows you couldn't have gotten over the mountaintop without me. And
MJ said that all the time, though. But also, too,
he said it, but he was very patronizing. I thought he was very patronizing.
You think so?
Yes, I think that. I think Pippen. Jordan went to UNC. He went to basketball royalty. He went to one of the big, basketball factories, one of the great played for one of the great coaches on one of the great teams. And Pippen went to school in Arkansas. And their distance, the distance has to do with kind of what I call the cosmopolitan style of playing basketball. Jordan was, he's from Wilmington. He came to North Carolina. He had a slight chip on his shoulder, and he proved to be as good as he wanted to be, and he got better as a pro. But Pippen was one of those guys that he proves that when you're great, they find you. Well, but they have very different experiences. We didn't know how good Pippen was until he really got to the NBA. No one knew who he was, but we knew who Michael Jordan was. We knew who he was, and we were all happy in Chicago when he arrived there, and he got better every year. We knew it was a matter of time. And Pippen is easy to be overshadowed by someone because he's Jordan is a singular, he really is the definition of a unicorn, a sports unicorn, a cultural unicorn. And that's hard to compete with. And it's hard to swallow that because Pippen on other teams and other moments would have just been a great player in that era and we wouldn't have been talking about it. But the fact that he's a teammate,
But also too though, see my rub is this. We're like game 6, with MJ's last game with the shot and everything. Pippen had a bad back. Jordan won like when nobody doing nothing but him. You know what I'm saying? And even the other games, like, he had the flu game.
Yeah.
With him, you know what I mean? So it's like, I know MJ, like, okay, I can win without you, but hold on, man. I am the engine. You know what I'm saying?
No, listen. I don't like Jordan as a person for all kinds of reasons. I love him as a player. And it's hard to deny things. Just because you don't like someone, you can't deny their talent. And the reality is that, even on those bad Bull teams, he was just really stratospheric in terms of how he did things, how he elevated the game. And the thing that people forget about Michael Jordan is that he actually is a hard worker. He wanted to get better, right? Lots of great players don't want to get better because they're better than most. But then, you have someone like Phil Jackson saying, hey, man, you're selfish. You have to give up some of your game for us to be great. And then his response is, I'm so selfish that I'm willing to give up something to get the thing I want, right? If you and I both know, we're both Chicagoans, and we know when Jordan was in L.A. and they won a game, and you see him grasping that trophy, he's just pouring out, he's weeping. If you understand, if you ever accomplished anything in your life, when you grasp it, that first one, he just held onto the ring, held onto that trophy, and he poured out everything because he realized my sacrifice was working. It wasn't just hard work. It was my talent, my hard work, my sacrifice, all those things, and I elevated others. And that's hard for Pippen to really understand, but I still get it. I get it that it's a league of personalities. It's a Jordan. And I also think that Pippen's critique is fair, which is, the Last Dance wasn't really about the Bulls. It was told to the narrative of Michael Jordan. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, get your 30 for 30 and do your thing. Like, I get it, but I also believe that Pippen, I think Pippen feels slighted in the sense that he felt like the narrative didn't honor him in the ways he did. And we can have an argument all day. Pippen's a great player. He's one of the 75 best players. But guess what? The best player is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Okay. Listen, the best player is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Now we can talk all day. Now I would probably, if I had to vote, I might pick Kareem as the all-time great for all kind of reasons. But we would be comfortable selling on Michael Jeffrey Jordan. We really would, right? And that's the thing you can't get around. Like, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to Michael Jordan, even if you're Scottie Pippen. I think he saw the things he saw, and we saw it too. I mean, I spent a lot of time watching games live, watching the Bulls over their run and beyond that. And, that's not the comparison you should make. And then I just think at the end of it, in the post-career stuff, it's weird to have the dynamics that happen between Jordan and Pippen and the son, all that kind of crazy stuff. I don't get into that.
That's what it really is, to keep it a buck. But that's neither here nor there. So thanks for checking out the Sports Pod with Rob and Dwayne.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk, focusing on race and sports. Keep it hot, baby. Keep it hot all day.
But appreciate you going down a rabbit hole. But want to have you on to one, so people can see you in a different light. I know we're always talking about just more topics, and we're still gonna get into those today. We want people to understand that you are a man that knows about a lot of different things out there in the zeitgeist. And we'll do a 2025 wrap up. Because it's pretty much the end of the year. Shout out to Christmas, shout out to New Year's, and all the other holidays. And want to make sure we kind of talk about just the 2025 in certain categories and spaces in totality. So we're going to start with just the administration right now, because you made a point about 2025 and Trump was testing the limits. Can you speak more about that?
Listen, I think that one of the things that Trump learned was that the second chime was a charm for him. And what he
Mm,
figured out when he was in the wilderness and really staring down the real abyss of having some political consequences was that if I get the ring, if I win again, if I can get back again, I'm going to know what to do. And while there's nothing that Trump has done that's been surprising to me, I'm on the record, on the pod talking about it. He's done the things he said he would do.
yeah.
And we don't like those things if you're a politically progressive person like me. But there's nothing that he's doing that's surprising on the economy, on immigration. He has responded to his base. He's publicly said he would do those things. He's challenged birthright citizenship. He's taken the economy where he is. He's taken us in terms of foreign policy. But what he's done in every area, whether that's trying to take on something like Doge, is they made a very intentional decision to say, we're going to see how far we can go. We're going to see how much damage or transformation or disruption we can have. And then guess what? We're going to make the court, we're going to make them challenge us, limit us. And if we're successful, even if the Democrats seize control again, the reality is it'll take them some time to fix the things that they say they don't like about our policies. They're pushing the limits. Two things are helping them: an extremely weak, toothless Congress, and then I think more troubling for me is the role that the courts play. Right? We
Mm,
have three co-equal branches of government. I've taught this forever. This is civics, social studies, history 101. And what the president did was make me a liar. He said,
mm,
hey, you know what? We don't actually have three co-equal branches. I don't know about, this isn't Madisonian democracy. This is
yeah.
Trumpism. And there's one branch of government and everybody falls under it. So that strongman approach has kind of disrupted our system. So
Yeah.
presidents come and go. Presidents belong to their parties. The presidency belongs to the American people. I've said that over and over. And what Trump is challenging is this idea that guess what? The presidency belongs to Donald Trump as long as he's sitting on the throne, right? So
Yeah.
we say no kings, but guess what? He's testing, and I wouldn't say he's passed the test. I would say what he's done is really pushed us to the extreme and forced us to figure out again what's the price we want to pay for the country we want to have. Even people who supported him. So we may not support him. I certainly don't support him, but I believe that he's been consistent. He's been transparent, explicitly consistent about what he was going to do if he got access and could run the executive branch again. And all across 2025, from the very first day, from the very first week, who he pardoned, the kinds of proclamations that he made, presidential executive orders, they all were consistent. Now, we all talked about it. If you go back to 2024 and you go back earlier in the presidency campaign, we talked about, oh, there's going to be this, they've got this blueprint and people should look at it. And people thought, oh, well, I don't have time to look at a 800-page document. But in that document, they were consistent. They went through and said, Mr. President, this should be the focal point. This is what we should do. So, that's presidential power. But remember, three co-equal branches, but now we're down to one. And I don't like the look of it at all.
And see, my thing is, it was always like, you thought about the president. You just figured a president can only do so much, right? The law, the country will like, hey, put a stopgap. But it's feel like he's like, what y'all gonna do? And it's like nothing.
Right.
Actually, we can't do it. And it's like this is how it's always been. So it's really just been this like gentleman's agreement almost.
But see, I wouldn't say gentleman's agreement. I think the reality is that people took the idea of citizenship seriously in the sense of it was common, it was normal, it's a natural order of things to challenge where appropriate. There's the idea of respecting the office of the presidency or the court or the branches, and then there's the idea that some people say, you know what, I'm not going to respect tradition. I'm not going to respect these institutions. The reason that it's failing is that our system is set up for this kind of reciprocity of checks and balances and reciprocity of respect of the institution. But if somebody comes in and their approach is, I fundamentally have disrespect for everything that's not related to my desires, when I can actually become truly bigger than the country and more important than the country, people don't know how to respond to that because all the people who spent their careers trying to argue back and forth, they're still arguing fundamentally that the system is a sound system, it is a legitimate and credible one. And now what we've seen is that we've exposed that the wizard actually has no credibility and that our systems can be tested, but they were tested still with the idea that at the end of the day, we had a system that could fend off, could stop the momentum of a tyrant, could stop the momentum of somebody who was a king. And then what we didn't plan on was that people will challenge, that people will lack their public courage. So this is about courage. It's not about, the system works when we have players who are playing the game. But if somebody is basically playing the game saying, no matter what you do, I'm going to cheat, right? You put 12 men on the field in football, or six people on a court in basketball, or something. So that's how I'm going to play basketball. Everybody goes along. That's the problem. We know the rules. The rules aren't in. We're not confused about the rules. We're not confused about who we are. We're going to celebrate our 25th anniversary as a country, so we're not confused. But we have decided that we don't have the will to honor those things, and that actually is more trouble than anything that Donald Trump is doing or has done.
That's a very good point, because I feel like people have, when you look at these larger companies that have sided with the administration, it's financial gain or the willingness to say, you're not gonna mess with this big business deal I got coming, a la Paramount, you know what I'm saying, that kind of stuff. And it's just like, you'll approve XYZ. And it's like you said, they're willing to look past what's wrong, definitely wrong. They say, well, I need my business to run, I need this to go through, right? And it's like, but at what cost will this be 6 years down the line? Because I mean, you gonna turn on y'all like you turn on everybody else. But okay.
But listen. Two things I'll say. This new book called We the People. That's a great book. I always tell people, if you learn anything else, learn about the idea of popular sovereignty. That the power of government comes from the people. The problem is that if you wanted a CEO of a company, you don't have the notion of popular sovereignty. You have shareholder value. You have a fiduciary obligation to maximize the needs, maximize the profits and the gains and the interests of shareholders. Those are different. So you have people who, on the one hand, argue that the power of government and its legitimacy draws from the people, but you have people who actually are impacting, shaping, and literally having their presence felt in the government who say, well, at the end of the day, it's not about popular sovereignty. It's about shareholder value and responsibility and our obligations. That's a conflict. And in a place where people have, the what I would call the juggernaut of resources, people don't know how to get around that. But they're two different conversations. I don't see any moves that are being made by the folks that Trump is surrounding himself by, or who've capitulated him. They're saying, listen, we're doing the things that are right for Meta or for Apple or for whoever. You need $10 million to create a ballroom, we'll give it to you, because for us, that allows us to get what we need. But they're not having a conversation about civics or about popular sovereignty or about government, about citizenship. They actually don't care. And it's hard to feel that because we're using their platforms and their services. But Trump understands that it's transactional, and they understand it's transactional. Everybody involved knows that in 2028, and certainly by 2032, there'll be somebody else in the White House who we will be revisiting these conversations, saying, well, back in 2024 and 25 and 26, this is what we did, and we're reversing it, right? And so just like Trump reverses policies, they will get reversed. But if I'm worried about what the shareholders need in 2026 and 2025, I don't care what happens in 2030, because somebody else may be in power. Right. And guess what? And I'll pivot back to whoever's in power, because that serves my interest.
Yeah, because that's the whole George Floyd thing. Right. And it served people's interest to be like, well, let's take Target, right? It's prime example, right? It was Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Head of the, we're going to do it. This is our city, yada, yada, yada. And then you fast forward, have different administration. Yeah, we have this DEI stuff. And it's like, and you wonder, as a, we were in some market research, I forgot where it was. But anyway, about 5 years ago, they were saying that people cared about the company's values, like the value, if they donated to certain things, or they took care of certain nonprofits. Now people are cared about how do you speak to me as an individual? And that was arresting, because again, I remember that vividly. It used to be like, what do you stand for as a company?
What are your core values? What are your core values?
But now it's like, I don't care what you stand for. Can you take care of me? And that's just indicative of how we live in the world right now.
That's a shift, right? Because that's self-interest. When you look at the strain that people are under from the standpoint of economy, when you look at the fact that, people feel like, well, I tried to invest in it. There was such a broad push, right? There was such resistance to the changes the groundswell that happened, what I call the third reconstruction, when we see what happened with the Floyd moment, so to speak. People realize we tried to do it, we got resistance, and then people capitulated, and they say you went too far. We never went far enough, in my view. But the reality is that 4 or 5 years of trying to push for it, the backlash was inevitable, because again, it was going to cost something to do those things. And I'm not talking about just merely financial costs. It was going to cost those institutions, it was going to cost those corporations to make those shifts. And they realized, you know what? It might be better for us to just go with the pendulum. The pendulum swung back in from a political standpoint, more conservative. We got a Republican president who's, got all these powers and there's no accountability, but we can get something out of it. And when it goes back, we'll go back. I promise you that 5 or 10 years from now, and maybe less, we'll be having the same conversation about, do you remember when they were talking about anti-DEI and about, anti-affirmative action and about anti-opportunities? It's going to swing back. That's how history goes, right? So it's cyclical, but it's not cyclical in a kind of random way, right? This really is about where we are. But our values have been assaulted, and people don't know how to deal with it. They're traumatized, politically traumatized, culturally traumatized, and the voices like ours that are raising those questions, people hear us, but they're like, but the risk of actually siding with you, it might cost me my job. If I say the wrong thing about somebody who's on the other side, I could lose my job. I could lose my health care. My life could be more difficult. Is it worth it? And people have said, no, it's not worth it. It doesn't mean people aren't challenging it. I don't believe that the Trump's kind of presence, his impact is total or complete, but it is heartfelt. It is real. It poses a real threat. And even in those cities like a Chicago, like a Portland, like a Memphis, where you see these kind of encroachments on local authority, the reality is we're going to test and see where it goes, and then we're going to see who capitulates and who doesn't.
What's the prediction for 2026? What do you think?
Well, in what sense? In what prediction about what?
I guess because I know you were saying before we started recording, or maybe you said it even earlier when we were talking, just how in 26 you think it'd be a different conversation as maybe with the election, of the.
Yeah, I think a couple things happen. I think the Democrats will absolutely win back the House. I think that we look at the election of the new mayor in New York. When you see the ways in which the Democratic spectrum was so successful, when you have what's happened in the gubernatorial race in Virginia, you see what's happened in New Jersey, you see someone like the New York mayor being the mayor-elect winning. They're all different kinds of Democrats. The message of affordability, is really about accountability. Like you didn't impact my life. My life didn't get better since the last election. And I think you're going to see that same momentum. So I think in 2026, you'll see the momentum that the Democrats have started will pick up, and that it'll be consequential. And the reason you're going to see that is that the policies of the current occupant of the White House will be further exposed. And I think that more importantly, the kind of what we call the bread and butter issues, not just the cost of food, but as I was trying to suggest earlier, the cost of healthcare is going to come to head. That is, it's one thing to talk about that state costs more or that housing costs more, but what happens when you deal with healthcare is you're fundamentally dealing with the literal lives of people, right? You talk about, the healthcare question is going to be a factor, right? It's not just going to be affordability, but what I call livability, quality of life. If my healthcare is going up and I can't get access to healthcare, if I really genuinely have to look at my food bill, those things, the way we articulate our kind of concern about that is at the ballot box. We're going to see a major change, a trend in which Democrats will not just seize the House again, but then the conversation would change. Then we'll see that the conversation will change. The issue is, will they win enough momentum to be able to shift policies? Because voters, in my view, will say, I'm willing to have a protest vote and kind of punish the Republicans for what's happened in the first 2 years. But I worry that even if I give the Democrats control of the House, what can they really do? Can they really change the policy? And I think the answer to that is going to be no. I think it's going to be no, but the change will be there. We'll see that trend. The Democrats will come to regain control both locally, statewide, and certainly nationally. And what we'll ultimately see is who's going to emerge on the Democratic side to be the person who wants to be the torchbearer, and who's going to be the person who wants to be the heir apparent to Trump. That will tell us a lot. We will know that a year from now. A year from now, when you and I are talking, when I'm on my pod, AKA World's Public Record, I will be on record. I will be on record saying, I told you 12 months ago that the House is going to change. I told you that the policies are going to come. Checking the policy problems, the chickens will come home to roost, so to speak.
I will add this. I agree with you about the House power, but I think we're going to see a Trump that's unhinged because the power because of the rising power of the Democrats, and it might be a bit effective. I think that'll make him like really just start going ham. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, yo, he wilding. You don't think he wilding now?
Yeah, but the problem is when he's essentially after the elections, the next set of elections, he's essentially a lame duck. He will do as much as he can. Remember what I said. This is about causing damage and then seeing what you can get away with, and then forcing the other side, digging a hole so deep that even if you got control, right? To me, it's like if you rob somebody, it doesn't make a difference if you have to pay them back at the end of the day. If you steal $1 million and all you got to pay back is $500,000, you still come out ahead. Trump's view is, you know what? The Democrats might get power, but I'm going to really cause so much damage in all the institutions, in American society. They'll be spending most of their time repairing. They won't be able to do anything new because they'll be trying to repair the things that I've changed or that I've impacted. So, I think that Trump is still going to be consistent. He is still somebody who is not politically, emotionally, intellectually reliable. And that's not going to change. So he will look down the barrel and say, you know what, I got 24 months to be president and I'm going to do the things I'm going to do. But he's already secured his future in terms of the deals he's made, his family has made. So I think he's point. Right. He ran to protect himself. And guess what? He got the protection. And then the Supreme Court basically turned around and said, you know what, as president, literally, you have all this power, and that the level of accountability for the executive branch has changed. So now he's done the thing he wants to do, which is, again, make sure he's okay. The country may not be okay, but he doesn't care about the country. He's okay. And you have to just, accept the fact that that's who he is. He is his record, if you're saying football and sports. Trump is his record. That's, to me, he's the epitome of that kind of cliche.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a bit, man. We do 2025 wrap up. Let's go with music next.
You don't want to do that. Why are you doing this?
We just discovered that we got a beef because you are Kendrick Lamar. Because you said, talk about Kendrick Lamar. I said, I'm a Drake guy. You were ready to just like.
I really almost, you know what? If you weren't family and if our relationship wasn't built on love, this would be the end of this podcast because. This is turn the TV off. That's what I would say. This is the moment where you turn the TV off.
Listen. Let's not get it twisted. Mm-hmm. Kendrick smoked him. Kendrick cooked him.
Right. Okay.
Cooked him. You know what I mean?
Right. It's not even close. It was a romp. It was a rap.
What concert I'm gonna go to? I'm going to Drizzy. I'm going to the Drake concert.
Is there even such a thing now? Are you kidding me? Give me a break.
I saw Drake and the Migos.
Wow.
2018. One of the best shows I've been to, man.
I don't doubt it. But here's the thing. The thing that Kendrick Lamar does, what he did at the Super Bowl, what he's been doing for the better part of a decade is, we use the phrase changing the game, but really from a cultural standpoint, you look at both the music that he's producing and the impact that he's having on the culture, right? That's the thing that I always talk about. All jokes aside, Drake is making it, from a music standpoint, there's a lot that can be said. But the reality is that Kendrick Lamar is a cultural force, and he reminded us of that last year with the album that he came out, with his performance in the Super Bowl. We're not talking about Drake except as a punchline for Kendrick Lamar. And remember that before this year, Kendrick Lamar already had a body of work that could cause the conversation, but he's a Pulitzer Prize winner. He's talking about the big issues. He's doing artistically the kinds of things that you want artists to do, not stagnating, creating great music, having his ear to the ground about what's really happening. And if you look lyrically what he's doing, musically what he's doing, politically what he's doing, culturally what he's doing, it's really not even close. I mean, I'm going to be very disappointed if he doesn't win Album of the Year this year. I really believe that he's paid his dues. He's shown that he can make great music, make a great impact, and that's what we don't see with Drake. I thought that Drake's response, even to all the stuff that happened around the Super Bowl, to me was not beneath him, but it showed that he was still caught in his feelings and not realizing that he was trying to fend off a cultural force. This wasn't like a rap battle. This isn't kind of that old school call and response rap battle. This is that somebody's saying something culturally important, and you need to have something that was more substantive in your response, musically, culturally, and alike. So,
but even on top of that, like the big phenomenon Well, it's not even this year, but it's growing like the K-pop, right? With the
Yeah.
K-pop
Oh my
demonized.
gosh.
And I mean, it's everywhere. And I saw a video about a woman. She was like, K-pop is black culture. She's like, it's just been kind of, and it's
Yes.
a woman. I was like, oh, she's saying this out loud. I appreciate that because there ain't nothing but New Edition and Boys to Men songs. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's just real pop. That's
All I
it.
gotta say is, listen, it's a model that works, and because black culture trend can be, it travels well, it can be replicated, right? You can always put your fingers on it. I mean, my daughter was just telling me that she had been searching, trying to find some music. She goes to an international school and she's learning Chinese, and she's like,
Oh,
trying
wow.
to find something. She goes, all of a sudden, we have this Chinese exchange student staying with us, and she introduced me to all this music, but guess what? It was a variation on the same thing.
Yeah.
It was okay. You don't have to have a working knowledge of Mandarin or Cantonese to understand that's still just hip hop. That's still just pop music, right? So that pop music, that metaphor, that structure are things that were familiar. And the language to me is just like the two people who I would say that in 2025 that really reminded me of the role that artists and particularly pop artists can play are, of course, Kendrick Lamar and Bad Bunny. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a whole conversation going like, is Bad Bunny a bad citizen? No, the answer is he's a great citizen. What he did for Puerto Rico, what he did for the economy, the ways in which he made political choices about I'm going to have a global concert tour, and I'm not going to come to the U.S. Oh, and then by the way, I'm going to then put a little cherry on it by performing at the Super Bowl, which is the penultimate space for a pop artist to go. After
Mhm.
I've proven to you, I didn't need to do it, but they invited me, right? That
Yeah.
shows you the significance of Bad Bunny. So if I was looking at this year, I would say Kendrick Lamar started us off and set the tone, and then he passed the baton to Bad Bunny, and then Bad Bunny took us to another level. He introduced all the things, and guess what? And as he said on Saturday Night Live, you're gonna have to wait. You got between now and February to figure out what I just said in Spanish. He changed the game. Okay,
Mhm.
those two changed the game, and I'll just say this: they never mentioned Drake. They never mentioned Drake.
Listen,
Not
man,
not not a word. That
I'm
Drake
just
name never
saying.
came up.
I'm just saying.
St. Francis Drake didn't come up. No Drakes came up.
I'm just
Okay,
saying. I'm
Bad
just
Bunny came
saying.
up. All right.
Listen, hey man, I ain't gonna leave you, Drake. Keep putting out the music, man. I'm here, dog. But
Listen,
what do you think? What are your thoughts on Taylor Swift?
I'm a big Taylor. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I'm a
Yeah,
Taylor
yeah.
Swift fan. Listen, my daughters and I, we went. We couldn't get tickets for America. What do we do? Like any Americans, we went to Paris and we saw Taylor Swift, right? And what I
Mhm.
realized was, wait a minute. I'm thinking, okay, it's pop music. She's a songwriter. I get pop music. I understand the fan base, whatever. But for me, what the two things that impressed me were, I was reminded that Taylor Swift was a really good songwriter. That's important. You got to have talent. I don't care what anyone says. There are lots of pop kind of artists, but if you don't have talent, you eventually get exposed.
Yeah,
And I think the second thing was I'm always interested in the impact that American culture has outside of the US. And what I saw when we were in Paris, when I saw what's happening with Taylor Swift, what I realized is that the reason that Taylor Swift generates so much both love and hate has a lot to do with the impact that she's having both in the US and globally. And where is that high leverage point? It's among young people, it's among young women. It's a group that again, that large group of people, that class of people, young women within a certain age, they can carry conversations. They can carry the view, the vision of pop music. They
yeah.
can, raise money. They can, elevate songs, elevate products. So Taylor Swift understands. She understands the assignment. So often, what happens is people get kind of, to me, too invested in the personalities. Do you like Kelsey? Her and Kelsey. Here's my response: she gets the business. She understands the assignment,
Yeah.
and it's producing music for the audience that she wants. Her audience is not disappointed. It's when you lose your audience that you're a problem. It's not when you lose battles or you become a kind of focal point for public debate.
Yeah.
So no, I'm a Swiftie. I'm there.
And we talked about this last week no, a couple weeks ago, just about how is hip hop still like the number one genre for people in music? Because it used to be a time like when we were talking and growing up in the '90s, what have you. We hip hop was more a cultural thing. It was like
Right.
you were hip hop, and now hip hop is like it's just like it's music that everybody like everybody listens to. But they were saying something also about how the movement of TikTok specifically, you know, before you used to live with an album, you used to buy an album,
Yep.
listen, read all the notes, like listen to. I mean, you knew it word for word. Like it's probably
Yeah.
albums you can spit right now, like beginning
Yep.
to end. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
But now with TikTok, you hit because there's a song, this guy, Yes I Do by Leon Knight and Dwayne. You might like it. It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Minneapolis
yeah.
rock,
Yeah,
black
yeah,
rock
yeah.
star, like Morris
Yeah,
Day of
yeah,
Time.
yeah,
You
yeah,
might
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
you might dig it,
Hey,
man. I might
I'm
send it
love
to
it.
you.
Send it to me.
Yeah. Yes I Do by Leon Knight. Listen,
Okay.
love that song. And but it was like I heard it, I saw it on TikTok, and I was like, "What is this?"
Right.
And then I go find it, and
Yeah.
I tell everybody I can. But like most now, they say like a lot of times you hear a song on TikTok, and you go, "Okay, that's a snippet. I find it, and that's it." You don't really get to live with it because like you'll hear a song that'll be popular, and it's like you don't know who you don't know the artist. It's kind of like
Right.
okay, and then it's like
Is it AI or not? It's
yeah,
coming to that.
it's big. Well, the biggest thing this year has been those AI covers. Have
Oh
you
my God.
because
Oh my God.
now we talked about on the pod, and I thought about you. I was like, well, he'll just be so mad.
You lucky to have a call in part. I would have called in and complained. I listened to y'all
They
crazy.
had Michael Jackson Thriller album as Trap Soul,
Yeah.
and it's
Crazy.
nice. It is
It's
nice, man. You gotta
crazy. I know. I
check it
know.
out,
I
man.
know. I
Yeah.
know. Listen, again, as I've been saying to many people, AI
Mm.
is it's either a tool or a toy.
To the AI
As a
company. Go
toy,
ahead.
listen,
Get right
as
to it.
a
Yeah,
toy,
explain
as a
that.
toy, it's great. As a tool, it's got some deeply problematic policy implications. But as a toy, it's great. Generating music, generating artists, all the stuff of hey, we're gonna technologically construct an artist. But again, I've argued that AI is a large language model that everyone knows. And guess what? So it's drawing on the known world to generate stuff. It has all the implications for movie and art that we talked about, but I'm not moved by it. I mean, I like it as a toy. It does those kind of things, but ultimately, AI can't exist without those kind of human innovations. And what happens is that people get overwhelmed. Like it's technology, it's cute. You look at TikTok, you look at the things that it's able to do, the ways it's able to impact work and labor are really serious, right? It's people are saying they get it, but when people start losing their jobs, and I mean real jobs, not like the kind of things that we don't like to do when they're doing more than just writing emails and letting students kind of gain a academic advantage by using AI. What happens is the large language models will then get weaker because what made AI strong to me is what's put in the what are the ingredients that are put in. It's a deep well, it's a right well that draws on everything, and it generates all these amazing outcomes potentially. But the amazing outcomes, like every other technology, has some implications and some impact far beyond what's intended. And that's the thing that we don't want to deal with. We don't want to deal with that until we have to deal with it. It's like climate change. We know we got to deal with it, but we don't really want to deal with it until it's so urgent that we have no other choice. AI is in that range. It poses a kind of existential threat to the way we do things. And we got to figure out how we want to manage that. All
Mm.
right. And, I'm not against AI. What I'm against is what I would call kind of blind faith in technology that doesn't ask doesn't ask the questions we have to ask. So music, great. Labor, we got to see.
Yeah.
Medicine, maybe, right? If you can do some things, you can use it as a resource to solve important medical questions and, do those kind of computations. That's great.
Yeah.
But the human impact, we're still always talking about the cost on humans, not just the advantage, not just the fun. Our whole life, we go to TikTok as a relief or TikTok as a source to learn about news. But guess what? We still have our life free and clear of those platforms. Those platforms are places we go to kind of explore things of our life or connect with people. But it never, to date, I've seen no evidence that supports the idea that TikTok or technology or AI can transcend the power of humanity. I haven't seen that, right? I haven't seen that, whether you're religious or not. Like at the end of the day, to hear proponents saying we don't need God, we don't need anything. If we got AI, AI will generate something for us, and it'll be just fine. We'll be okay with it. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't think so.
and I know, I'm AI positive, right?
I know you
You know
are
what I'm saying?
AI positive. That's
But
good. I like
like
Allen
that,
Iverson too. I
yeah,
like his. I like Allen
I know
Iverson too.
you like the real AI,
I got
but my
you.
thing is though, I do agree with you though that you have to be it takes a level of discipline using AI because I see the commercials that they put out and they're
Yes.
talking to it like it's a therapist or
Right.
like tell me what to do. And it's like, nah, I don't do that. You know what I mean? It's like, no. I'm using, I'm trying to build when I use AI, I put a lot of information in it. My prompt is
Yes,
very,
you do. Yep.
you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? My prompt is like, I have a very long prompt. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
But look,
most of
but you
it,
went to it. But you went to it. Look, you got graduate level education. You got excellent undergraduate education. The issue is the tool in the hand. 14, 15. People can drive a car.
yeah,
Does that mean they drive the car well? So
yeah,
the
yeah,
issue for me isn't AI. Listen, when we make it about AI, this is not about AI. This is about how humanity is going to leverage itself and the resources that it have. And the most powerful resource that we have are human beings. The technology is just a way to leverage and exponentiate the power of the human being. So again, in the right hands, it does these amazing things. I'm not you may be AI positive. What I would say is I'm not an AI denier. See,
yeah,
I'm not into this idea of denying AI. I think
yeah,
that's foolhardy and crazy,
yeah,
But I do think asking the hard questions would do more than just refine it and make it a little bit better. Don't we have to ask some hard questions about what it really means and what we want to do? And at this point, the cat is way out of the bag, and the momentum is basically making people capitulate because they feel like they have no choice. But they do have a choice. They do have a choice. You can be AI positive. You can be someone who's not an AI denier. But whatever you are when it comes to artificial intelligence, ask yourself, where does the source of that information come from? It's not self-generated. AI is not a result of osmosis. It didn't generate itself. Humans generated it, and the question is, for what purpose? Right? When you look at OpenAI, look at the founders of AI. And one of the books I would tell you is look at the Empire of AI, Karen Howell's book on the Empire of AI about how open AI became about. It's asking the right questions.
yeah.
And nowhere have I said I'm not going to use a computer. I'm not going to use AI.
Yeah.
I've said ask the questions before and not after. I don't want to be reactive to it. I want to be proactive in how we respond to it.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
I know you love AI. You got all your guess what?
You ain't gotta say I love it. Come on, man.
No, you do. You do. You listen.
You know what I
You
mean? I
love AI.
use it. I
You
use it
love
efficiently.
no.
You know,
You
see,
love
now you
AI.
going too far, man. I
No,
love
I would say it's a deep, abiding kind of
it. Okay.
technological romance that you're having.
Next category for 2025. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here with sports, man. So what are your thoughts on the year 2025 in sports? I know before you talked about changing the guard of the NBA, but just kind of a few highlights, right? Of course, Eagles won the Super Bowl, the Dodgers won the World Series with like amazing performance by two Japanese
No,
ball players, you know what I'm saying?
they're real. They're
Thunder
real.
Thunder won. Like I think the biggest thing, like the Thunder won the NBA championship. Did I miss anything? That's everybody, right? That's all the major sports. I don't watch
Well,
hockey. I don't
and
know.
we're gonna have listen. The big issue in 2025 is guess what? Wait till we see the World Cup. Wait, the
Yeah,
World Cup is going. The World Cup reminds us that sports is everything. When I
yeah,
mean
yeah,
everything, it is everything. You want to understand society, you got to understand the relationship between people and sports,
yeah.
race, culture, and sports. Race and society go together. Sports and society go together. Gender and society go together. The emergence of the WNBA. All the conversations about the fact that at some point the WNBA
Oh yeah,
players
the
in the
Aces won.
league,
Yeah,
right? So we have to understand who's winning, and then why do people are so attracted to these new sports? Why they attracted to the success? I mean, you can take any one of those sports. What the Dodgers did, what Shihoni did. I mean, it's amazing. But really, what you see is that sports in 2025 is a reminder that sports is everything. You can sit down, not watch baseball all year, and then be blown away by Toronto and LA. Like you can say, well, I didn't watch so many games, and our home team, the Sox, suck. We don't care,
don't
right? When
care.
you see a great World Series, you're like,
I watched
wow,
it. Yeah, I
okay,
watched it. Yeah,
right? When you see Oklahoma Thunder, you go, these guys are all under 25. Wait a minute, we
listen,
didn't
that
mention,
was one of the best finals because I think on the surface it was like
wow,
it's not gonna be great. And
yeah, it's gonna be
at first
okay.
right, it was like and I mean I still say it. If Tyrese didn't hurt his leg, they were winning. Indiana was winning because they were cooking, and
Listen,
Oklahoma City was a little was tight over there, man. But
yeah,
what's weird? Weird's the wrong word. Is pickleball big out there in DC?
pickleball is big, but here's the thing, man.
It's like I was like, what is
It's
going
a
on?
fad. It's a fad. I'll say
Yeah,
this. So what I see is this: pickleball surge. It's like a meteorite. Just everybody's playing it. Everybody's trying to do it. Everybody's all into it. But now what I see is the backlash. Locally, people are like, hey, we don't want pickleball courts everywhere in our community. So it's I'm cool with it, but not in my backyard kind of approach. So pickleball is important, but it's a fad. I don't think that we're going to be talking about pickleball 10 years from now in the same way we're talking about in 2025. I think we see a shift. I think that's what we see. What we're going to see are the continuing rise. Excuse me. In 2026, we'll see that women-led, female-identified center sports will dominate in ways. It will get bigger, stronger, become more important. Yeah. You add the World Cup, and it's always something there. And guess what? Add things like racing. Right? We haven't said anything about racing. Like one of the best movies that came out, this year was about race car driving. The Brad Pitt movie was amazing. So when we talk about sports, what we really are doing is talking about a stand-in for society. What's the way we can glean some insight in what's happening in our world, right? So politics is kind of like a third rail. You talk about it and people are kind of, their strong views about it. But what sports does is allows us to have a common ground to talk about big issues. So do we love our teams? Yes. But really there's also a meta conversation, no pun intended, going along about what's happening in society. Oklahoma City have you ever been to Oklahoma City? Because I have. It's an amazing space. The NBA champions in Oklahoma City, right? That says something. But then you look at two global cities like LA and Toronto playing for the World Series. So each of those sports tells us something about society, about business, about what things we value. And that's a really telling sign. Here in the DC area, it's hard to not find a sport that can connect you. We see that cricket is getting big here. We see all these other, yes, it's huge, right? We have a professional cricket team, that's here, in the DC area. So when I say sports, I'm just talking about the traditional ones that maybe you and I grew up with when it was, 2, 5, 7, and 9. You just saw the sports you were on TV. This is, you're seeing, we're introduced to sports not just because of the platforms, ESPN and Fox and all these other sports. It's that the sports are also drawing, the kind of impact and influence. I mean, look at what's happening with Messi down in Miami. I mean, I could never imagine that a South American global icon in sports would come to Miami and literally elevate the league. Okay. Right. And conversely, an American-born Dennis Rodman daughter could elevate a women's league. Yeah. I'll say this again, Rob. Sports is everything. It's not just about the sports. Okay. It's about larger questions, and that's how you get them.
Because to your point, the unrivaled league, the 3-on-3 women's league.
Yes.
January, and that was more a direct hit at the WNBA. Like, y'all could pay us more money if you wanted to.
Right.
So we can do it. I'll start our own league. And
league contract money. Look, that's business. Find a business model that works. And now you got all the platforms, and now you got all the ways you can expose people in ways you couldn't, right? Yeah. There have always been great female athletes. That we've never had a moment, in modern, defined broadly, 1900 to 2025, where we haven't had great female athletes that people wanted to see, and they saw them. It's the platform that allows us. We basically put to rest the myth that women can't be great athletes, that people won't watch them. We're done with that. Now it's like, what's the business model? Look at how much those franchises in the WNBA are selling for. The soccer leagues are selling for. That value is an indication that people are interested in from a business standpoint, but also from a cultural standpoint.
Absolutely. We talked about one thing before we started recording, because you made the comment about how sports gives us a look into like other parts of our lives, right? It's about the change of the guard in the NBA. And it's like, I've been watching NBA most of my life. Shout out to my sister Xanthi. She's the one who put me on to watching we watched the finals, and she was so excited. I never forget it. And she took me to the rally. I've been hooked on it ever since, man. And so all that to say is, this is the first time. I mean, I know there were guys who were older, just playing it's like Kevin Willis, right? Or AC Green wanted to keep the streak alive, just to do it. But it feels like now guys are holding on. LeBron feel like, to me, it's like he playing. It's like if he stopped playing, he owes somebody some money or something. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have to do
Well,
this, bro. Like I don't know. And even with the Chris Paul thing, it's like they just kicking you. It's like just beat it, man. Like that's how you're gonna
no.
end your career, you
Yeah,
know. And
no.
and it
Yeah, I don't
feels,
like that.
and I think the thing is, I do admire that guys get to play long because we're with Steph and LeBron and Durant a lot longer, right? But it's like,
Mhm.
how do we get to a point to get, because that's what sports are built on, to your point, is new players, new characters every year, or every
Mhm.
4 to 5 years we have new lead roles, we have new, newer stories, and that's what keeps this thing going. And it
Yeah.
feels like we got to this place where actually this story works, and we're gonna ride this story out. They'll still highlight Golden State and the Lakers, and LeBron out, Steph
Yeah.
out, you know what I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
everybody out because
Everybody injured.
they hurt.
They got a
Yeah.
poor hamstring. Because remember, it's the league. The NBA is a league. NFL is a league. We haven't even talked much about the NFL. What they have is we understand that it's the brand that's more important, right? That sure, there are singular talents that emerge, but ultimately we come to sports because again, our quarterback may change, our superstar, aging or otherwise, may get cut or ceremoniously dumped or can't play, but we're still interested in we're invested in the league. We're getting something out of it. And they know that. Listen, the surefire sign of that is I am sick to my stomach about sports betting. I hate it. I don't like
Really?
the prop bets.
I
I
don't. Yeah,
hate it.
I don't bet. But
I,
yeah.
I don't bet either. I think it's. I think it. I think that the NBA and all the sports league recognize they tried to say integrity of the game, and then of course the Supreme Court made it possible, and they're like, well, if that's the case, we're not going to lose any money over this. But
Yeah.
I would say the changing of the guard isn't just the types of sports or who we focus on. It's also that there are things that we're doing in sports in 2025 that we would have never done in 1975, 85, 95, 05, and maybe 2015, which is,
True.
I don't care about the backup point guard, whether she gets 6 points and 3 assists in the game. But there's more focus on that than the actual game or the value to the community. I've seen a shift in that. I don't like sports betting. I think the travesty or of what's happening with Chauncey Billups, it's
That's
really
crazy.
telling.
That's
So
crazy.
because you were talking about people staying on, Chauncey Billups was one of those stand-up guys.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was about money, but what is it about? It's about the fact that there's a corrupting influence on the integrity of the game
Yeah.
when people bet. That's net when you have a vested interest that isn't about your local interest. We talk about Chicago or about when it's a financial interest that changes how we watch games,
Yeah.
right? If you look at the beginning of all these football basketball games, there's all these prop bets and all the things we're gonna do, and it's not just Jimmy the Greek telling you that the over under is 5 or whatever the case may be. This is big money. And when
Yeah.
it's big money involved, it changes how we see sports. Again, sports is everything. Some of that everything is good, and some of that everything is bad. And I think we're going to see more of that in 2025. I mean, rather in 2026, we're going to see a lot of those trends. Right? I'm very interested in what happens with sports betting at the college level, at the pro level. It's a problem. It's a problem
You
that's
think that you think
not
they'll
going to
start
solve
letting
itself.
college? Think they'll start letting college bets go? I guess they do bet on college games now.
They,
So
listen, they
yeah,
have. There have been a lot of issues about this. The whole conversation ongoing,
top bets
especially
too.
in the Big Five. In the football, in the basketball. I mean, kids are getting called like, "Hey, I need you to make sure that you're making free throws and not making free throws, and that you get 5 points or 12 points or 4 rebounds." I mean, these are college students, so I love image and likeness and the ways that college students can make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
But I hate the idea that we're looking at Duquesne and Xavier basketball game, and their lives are dependent on in a way that people are not just who aren't professional gamblers, but the average person is able to sit at his or her home and make prop bets that impact how they see the game. Do they really want to watch the game? Are they really interested in it? No, they just want to know if they can, win their parlay. It's a different conversation,
For
you
sure.
know. So I don't like the Las Vegasization of sports. I think it's really bad. It's really bad. We're gonna see more of that in 2026.
So two quick things we got here, man. It's book time. So
It's
what
always
what
book
what
time.
what, what, what books do you recommend for us, sir?
All right, quick. Here we go. One. Here is Aaron Robertson's Black Utopia. You
Okay.
got to get this. So, look, again, we have what I call our imagined communities. That is, who are we? What connects us? And then what is it that we're looking for if we create the world that we want to look? This is a great look at a particular community in North Carolina where, again, always in the post-Reconstruction era, when Black people and people who are their allies are trying to create a world in which, hey, we have the autonomy and the ability to, again, express our humanity in ways that we couldn't otherwise, that the threat isn't there. In this community, the book is about a community that's in Tennessee or in North Carolina, in that area, and they still exist, right? And this guy went back and started thinking about, hey, I want to learn about this. I used to go down there, like you used to go to Bolivar when you were a kid. Like, you went back there and you realized, oh, this wasn't just a small country town. This was a unique space. And in unique spaces, what happens is that people decide that they're going to create a world that represents their best. And then they'll go back to Chicago or other places. So that's one book. Okay. Secondly, for everyone, particularly my Chicago family, please, Chicago is in the midst of doing this amazing art. They're celebrating Latino history and heritage in all of the public art spaces. And the book, that's the context for that, for those who are interested in everything from what's happening with ICE to the cultural implications of Chicago, is Brown in the Windy City. This book here, Brown in the Windy City, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, and Post-War Chicago, is a gem. And the Chicago, I think Chicago Historical Society, a number of the cultural spaces in Chicago are celebrating art. And this is one of the books that they've used to say, hey, we always talk about Chicago as a black and white space, but guess what? Chicago is black, white, and brown all around, all right? So again, when you go all around the world, this is what you see, okay? Chicago is a much more complex city, and so you get one place, Black Utopia is about what is it if we could imagine a world the way we think about it. And then this book here tells us what was it really like? How did Chicago become what it really was Chicago? You can't tell the story of Chicago, but just looking at the lens of the many white ethnic communities any more than you can the African American communities. You have to add to that mix, and what they do is add to that mix and say, hey, look, Chicago is the kind of city that has that celebrates its Latino, its Puerto Rican, its Mexican heritage, and we see it in the way the city is made. All right, and I wish that the people who are trying to challenge and push the boundaries around immigration, around ICE, would have looked at this book, and you understand why Chicago is a particular city and the spaces they're going to in 2025, right? They have deep roots in the city. If you want to understand what's happening in cities like Chicago around immigration, look at Brown in the Windy City. It's a model for a lot of places. There are a lot of Browns. There are a lot of cities that are brown that we don't think of as brown, right? The Memphises, the Atlantas, obviously the LAs. There are a lot of places that when we tell that story, we got to expand how we tell the story. Those are two great books to do it. Listen, any book by Percival Everett, any book, okay? I think Percival Everett, any book by him, I'm looking at this book. This book is quirky. He's written James. It's won all kinds of awards. But this book is just like a little quirky book that kind of explores a guy talking about his life. He's a professor. He's doing kind of stuff. It's a book that's not about politics. It's not about race. It's not about sports. It's about kind of the mundane things we do. We live our life, and we learn a lot about who we are. And then in this particular book, what happens is in Telephone, you realize that guess what? Even if you live a mundane life, tragedy and triumphs will find you, right? And so those three books are about, you don't have to be famous. You don't have to have extreme trauma. Your normal life gives you challenges, right? I mean, I could have the flu, you could have the flu. We got to take care of it. But guess what? This book, Percival Everett, his writing is just, to me, arguably one of the best American living writers. He's been successful. And I think the kind of writing that he's doing as a novelist, and a lot of his books are being turned into movies and the like, are really great. I mean, anything in his repertoire is worth it. I'm Not Sidney Poitier. He has all these really great titles, but I like Telephone because it's about mundane things. And sometimes we need something simple and basic. Those three books, Black Utopia, Telephone, and Brown in the Windy City, are three books that I think people could really go and explore. They all take us someplace that we want to go, and the kind of places we should go in 2026.
Fantastic. And you kind of touched on it a bit, but 2026 is a big year for us here at H53 because you are going to have your own podcast the world's public record, launching early 2026. Man, how do you feel about having your own pod, man? You ready?
I'm so excited. Release the hounds. That's all I can say. Again, the world's public record. I was raised, I was taught, I've been trained to always take, a stand on the big issues. We're gonna have issues that are fun, that are serious. The kind of things we're gonna be doing are the kind of things that will make you stop and want to pay attention. We're gonna give you a word, we're gonna give you an idea, we're gonna give you an experience, and we're gonna take you someplace around that globe. And I mean that both culturally, musically, in all the ways you might think about it. We're going to talk about big issues, but in my kind of unique way. All right. Yeah. We're going to start with context, content, and connection. We're going to talk about how you think about things using that little kind of framework that I use. And we're going to throw the issues in there and take you different places. And I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to talk about it. I think if everything goes the way we've laid it out, we're going to have a fantastic conversation. And hopefully, we'll get to the end, and I'll be able, you and I'll be in the studio, so we're talking about and reflecting on the things we've done. I think you should, we got the World Public Record studio is being defined right now. The backdrop is going to be there. You'll know you're there when you see it. So it'll be visually and very appealing, and the conversation will be even better.
Yeah, and folks, you guys will hear more about Dr. Williams' podcast, World's Public Record, very soon. We want to make sure I get and put it in your ear. Make sure to look for it. We get your information about the feed. So Sarah will find something to post for you guys to shake and follow. So, World, I always appreciate you, brother. Love you much, man. I really appreciate you always being on the pod.
Look, I love you. Get well and be
Blue
well.
Game.
And, boom.
36.
Let me say this. Listen to more Kendrick Lamar. Listen to more Bad Bunny, and you'll get better. That's the soup I got to give you. Bad Bunny.
Tell me what's really going on. Listen, back up in this thing is ready.
Turn the radio off. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Turn the TV off, and everything will be fine. All right, baby, bro. I love you. I'm gonna see you soon, man.
Take care, man.
Yep.
I want to thank Dr. Williams for joining us for the Supa Dupa Pod during the year and wrap up. Appreciate him as always. Make sure you check out the books that he recommended. We'll put those in the show notes. Again, thank you for following us on all socials, SUPA, DUPAPOD, online at HP53 Productions. And also on YouTube at HP53 Productions. I think that's the ways to find us. But make sure you like, subscribe, and share because we love it. We need it. We need it. We would like it. We ain't begging no money. But actually, I'm begging.
No, you beg. Please beg. Yeah.
I'm not too proud. We need you to like it and subscribe. So, I got my Jeffrey Manor bag. I need it. We need it on the pod. Okay, it needs something to happen. But make sure you like, subscribe, and share. As I miss anything?
No, I think you covered it all.
Hey, make sure you take care of yourselves and each other. Go get you a flu shot. This is the Supa Dupa. Oh, hey, mama. This is the Supa Dupa Podcast.
Champagne from you and I. Wait, you alive? Now that's champagne if you was I. Would you be off on this campaign? Is it suicide? If you know that bringing hope here is how careers die. Or do the K stand for kamikaze? The J silent is everywhere, you can feel them probably. Surely, lately, I've been up late with demons in my basement trying to get me to hate this. Life thinking I should be further and then I choke up. As soon as I got silent, then the truth spoke up. This said, how you know you ain't perfect? Let that soak up and soak in. You know how you know that you blessed? I woke up, feeling on my